I have a book in me. This is my friend, my brother.
Thank you, Kelly and Oliver.
I'm a multi-award winning best-selling author.
If you want to start a new business, I suggest you write the book on it.
God woke me up at 2:30 in the morning and I wrote a book.
Some of you got books already. Some of you got novels already.
The lead generator is the book.
You write a book, you leave a legacy to your children.
And I hope you guys listen to these guys so they know what they're talking about.
What's up, everybody? It's the publisher, Mr. Kelly Cole.
And the writing coach, Dr. Oliver T. Reid.
Welcome to Books-N-Brothas podcast. As you can see, if you can't see, if you can hear, we got a special guest today. And don't expect anything less than foolishness, all right? We got a special guest. This is my big sister. Introduce yourself to the people.
I am C.F. Jackson. I'm with iDefine known Kelly Cole since 2008. And it's been a wonderful pleasure journey, and it's still going.
It's been a bumpy ride. It ain't been
I gotta keep it clean.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, sis. We got so much to get into. I guess we'll just kick it off. We'll tell the people like kind of how we met. Now you got your version, I got my version, but your version is funny. So tell the people a little bit how we met.
So back in 2008, back in the corporate world, and I was working at the time AT&T and telecom, and I had signed up for this. Was it marketing? It was marketing madness.
Marketing madness, Matt Basak's marketing madness.
And so I was tired, and I said, if it's raining, I'm not going, because I was tired. It's gonna be like a 3-day event, and I just didn't feel like being bothered. But if it's not raining, I'm gonna go. So I woke up, the alarm clock, and it wasn't raining. Like, dang, I gotta go. So I go down there, and it turned out to be a great, I mean, it's a wonderful event. So I'm down there, I'm like inspired, a lot of energy. So I come across this brother, you know, he's sitting there, standing there. We was talking and chit-chatting and everything. And he was talking about some stuff, and I was like, yo, you ought to turn that into a product. And he was all excited and everything. But then for that, though, we had a tornado that spun around down in Atlanta. And so he was talking. He said, yo, it was a tornado. I said, really? He said, you say you from here, right? Oh, yeah. I'm like, I told you, I just got up, got on the train, came on down. I didn't get on the news, didn't know no tornado, because I knew it was a tornado. I probably wouldn't even made it. People would kill me crazy. Like, you sure you from Atlanta? Like, yeah, I don't know about no tornado. I'm glad I made it down here.
Yeah, it was a tornado that had hit downtown, not too far from where the event was.
Yeah.
The hotel where I was staying at, and she had no clue that there had been a tornado. And I was like, wait a minute. And what happened, how I recognized her, this is Facebook days. And for me, it was a blessing to meet somebody that actually looked like their profile picture. Like, she looked exactly like her profile picture. And that was a blessing. And so literally our friendship developed that day. I don't know if we follow each other or how we exchange information, but we just clicked. I can't explain it. We just clicked.
Yeah.
We've been friends ever since that day.
Yeah.
And
literally
transitioning to your book, we got later on into it. I ain't gonna tell y'all what she said about my first book, but
you won't let it go.
I ain't gonna let it go.
They ain't gonna let it go.
I'm gonna say it, then I'm gonna let you talk, because I gotta let you talk. So my first book, it was trash. It was whack. I'm saying it. It was not good. It was very thin, had a bunch of mistakes in it. But I asked her for a testimonial, and she was like, in her testimonial, she said, it's really not a book. It's more like a guide. That's what she did.
See how he said it? I did not say it like that time.
Bro, I was so mad. I didn't know what to do. Right? So it's like, she gonna diss my little effort. But anyway, it was whack. But anyway, so then she gave me a copy of her book. She actually wrote a novel, bro. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't know that.
So tell the people about your book and the title and how that process was.
That was back in 2003. I was still that was 2003, and I was still in the telecom world. And in 2003, I kind of awakened through that year of what's my purpose. So everything I did, like everyone who knew me back in 2003, probably I got on their nerve. If they came up with some nonsense, I'm like, what's the purpose? Like, God, they complain, what's the purpose? So I had woken, I went to sleep on a weekend, had a nap, and I woke up with a total synopsis and an actual title, which is very unique to have wake up for a total synopsis. Like, oh, no, this would be a great movie because I love movies. I do nonfiction reading, but I don't do fiction reading. So I told my mom about it. She's like, oh, well, that'd be great. Oh, I'm like, okay, great. She ain't no help. So then I called a friend at the time. I said, yo, this would be a good movie because I love movies. And she said, you should write a book. I'm like, write a book. And she's a, avid reader. She reads like it was water. So I'm like, I ain't got time to write no book. So just write a book. Then you can turn it into the movie later. I'm like, okay, never mind. So I just got the phone with her. I'm sitting on the sofa, literally going back and forth with myself, hearing, write the book. I ain't got time for a book. Write the book. And I literally just got up, did what I know how to do, went to the computer, and just pretty much started typing and writing a book. And it was really a pleasure of not asking a whole bunch of questions, how to do stuff, just sitting up and you know what a book is made of, chapters and words. So that's all I did was wrote. And then at that point, I made a commitment every day from 8 to 10. I would come home. That's at the time when Girlfriends was popping off, my favorite TV show. I would tune that out. I didn't watch Girlfriends no more. From 8 to 10, Monday through Friday. Monday through Thursday, I would write for 2 hours. And on the weekend, I would write longer. And sometimes I'd be so tired, I'd be sitting there typing, like, and then I wake up like, what did that don't make no sense. I had to delete it because I'm still trying to write the book, but it was just a pleasure doing it. And most people like, oh, it may take like a year. Like, it took about 4 to 5 months to write it because it was just constantly, as I'm driving, I pull over, right? It was just a pleasure. And then I produced. So then at that point, it was kind of frowned upon to have what you call print on demand type of thing, like Author's House, things like that. So I created my own publishing company, and then I went from there and started getting. That's how I got into the whole entrepreneur world and learning about online marketing and all that kind of stuff. So it was really fun. This one little step kind of got me to the next step to what's the next step to the what's the next step. But it all started with an actual novel, writing a book.
Go ahead, bro.
That's powerful. You got to be doing your thing when you say, hey, I'm not watching Girlfriends. Yeah. I'm writing a book. That's major number one. That you was like, I'm turning on TV. Then you created, not only did you write, your first book was a novel? So most people just a quick read, 120 pages, and that. You're writing novels out the gate. Speaks a lot to who you are as a person. Then you took it a step further. I didn't want to, kind of just gloss over that. You said you started your own publishing company at the same time.
Yeah. Thank you.
How did you, walk me through that? You just said, hey, because the way you just said it, like I wrote a novel. I sat down and turned Girlfriends out. What was the process of that? You talked about being disciplined. What were you telling yourself? What was that self-talk as you was going through all those steps?
It really was no self-talk. It was just like, like I said, I wasn't a fiction reader, but I love film. So I wrote the book like I wanted to be read. So I did do some research because I looked through books. I was just bookstores back in the day. It was called Kudzu. And I was finger through different books that I didn't want to, well, there was cheap books. I would buy some. And so if they were cheap, like $1 something, I didn't mind buying $1 something. But then I looked at the pace. So like, oh, this got too much. And it's standard novels because they had so much black, it was so much wording, some of the blocks and blocks. That's why I probably read the darn non-fiction books because they had too much words compared to, And so I came across Walter Mosley. I love his cadence. I love his space. I love the white page. So I read most of his book and I said, I like his space. I like how he's doing it. I'm going to create my cadence like that. And then I wrote it like it was an actual film. So when I did stuff, I didn't just write it. I was actually feeling it. So if I'm driving somewhere, if I heard it, then that was part of my book. So everything I kind of wrote, I kind of somewhat is here. It was at the point in time, it was in Atlanta, or I actually heard it. I didn't make it up. So if I'm driving in the book, it said it sounded like horses galloping on the highway as I'm driving. Well, that's what I heard when I was going down 85. It sounded like horses galloping as I was driving. I said, oh, yo, I gotta put that in the book. So I get excited, like, oh, and I'm sitting there, this rain pattern on. I say, oh, it sounds like Savion Glover. Oh, yo, it sounds like Savion Glover tap dancing on the car. So I'm sitting there, I'm at work in the parking lot that's right in my little handbook, like, oh, yo. So I was getting excited because everything I pretty much wrote, I felt it or heard it. So I was able to put myself in the actual story and pieces and places and everything. And I really kind of like, like the movie Best Man.
Yeah.
From the people, I kind of like had friends that I modeled in the book at the time. So it was kind of used people that I really created a synopsis of every character had a synopsis. And I had in my mind who would actually play that character when it comes to the film. So I had it all. It was just fun. For the first time doing something that was just unique and just like, oh, I'm about to kill somebody, you know. So it was fun.
You know you're talking dirty to Ty. You're talking Ty's language. Like he can get out right now. Real quick, you told me a story about when you were writing the novel, you wanted to put some actual lyrics in there. What lyrics did you put in your book? And if you can remember, how much did it cost you and what was the process? Because I get that question a lot as a publisher of people wanting to put actual lyrics in their book. And when I say lyrics, like music lyrics of a rapper. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, it was funny because when I started the process, because I wanted my book to be authentic, when someone read it, it was real. So I first asked the question because I had at that time you had Yahoo groups was very popular. So I was part of this writers Yahoo group. And I said, yo, how do you put lyrics in the book, whatever? And then somebody want to question my authenticity of writing a book. You should write your own lyrics. I'm like, this is a real book. No one's gonna sit down and know the words of some song I made up. I want somebody to be banging in the car. They're gonna be listening to something that sounds real.
Right.
Me looking up some words was not real. So initially I had wanted to put Lauryn Hill in the book. I said lyrics, just a few lines from her. I think it was everything. I wanted something in there, and they wanted some like $300, $400 just for a few words of her lyrics. So I ended up putting, the story, my man, Most Def, put Most Def in there. He called. I did two. I did Most Def and I can't remember, was it Angie Stone? I put like two in there, but it was like $100, I think $100 some dollars like that. But together, I didn't mind paying totality $100 something dollars or $200 together. But I was gonna pay like some astronomical price point for one, like $200 for one. And the process was really, you had to go through the process, going through Harry Fox, reaching out to the publisher, to the publishing of that work, and they have to give you rights. They ask you where you're going to actually sell the book. Is it going to be domestic and international? How many books you're going to be printing out? So it's worth it because if someone goes and read that book and you don't have the rights to it and they haven't given you the rights, they can ask you to cease and desist and ask you for money back. So people do things wrong all the time. I knew when I came out, people were doing it wrong. They were not going through the process. I was a rare person who knew how to do it back then. And like, you put in lyrics in your book, if you ask for the rights to do that, oh no, like if they came, they can always get it back. But I just felt the need to do it right. And I felt vindicated that I did it right. And it felt good, but it can cost you as little as $50, $100, $300, all depends on who the artist is. But Lauryn Hill wasn't playing. So I said, Lauryn Hill, I just put the title of your song and keep it rolling. We ain't paying for that. But I did like it though.
So where did you go so that people can hear that? Where did you go to get permission?
I think I initially went through, it's been so long ago, I went to Harry Fox is one where you can see who actually published the work, who actually came up with everything. And then you reach out to that publishing company. Because I also wanted to use like Kurt Franklin, something like that. But then you have to ask them, can I have the rights? They're going to ask you, what's the book about? What's the subject matter? Because this is their brand. Yeah. You put in they're working to that book. Your book could be raunchy, or it could be something they don't want, distasteful. So you're touching their brand, so they want to give rights to it.
Got you. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was saying that's dope to even think about putting that in a book, lyrics. Because that's something. Let me ask you, what was your novel? I want to know the novel. Did you have a cutoff in your mind? Was it like, okay, I want my book to be this long and I wanted to cover this amount, or was you just going with the flow and wherever it stopped?
The flow. It was because I was so green with it. I knew I wanted, as I was getting better with it and writing it, and I wanted to be authentic, and I wanted the main character to tell the story. Because at one point I got to a point where I tried to cut it off, and literally when I'm writing fiction, I mean, I'm being weird, but the characters do kind of talk. And then I'm like, I cut it, and I'm like, the character came back like, you can't cut it right there, right? So I had to go back in there and really end it the way I knew was going to cause some questions when people read the book, like, what? No, hell. So it kind of like I had to just complete the whole story as it was. So it was not, I didn't have a time period, but it's like, I just know I didn't want to take it forever. I know that much, but it's going to take a year or 2 years. Some people take forever to write it. I'm like, I ain't got all day. So I just know I didn't want forever. So when people tell people it took me like 4 to 5 months to write it, they're surprised. And it really was that, at that point when you have when you have a W-2, you have your job, and like I said, you cut things off, you have time all day, where you don't have any friction. Now, getting into promoting it and writing a second book. Second book was challenging because now I had a book, trying to publish it, print it out and all that kind of stuff was kind of hard, but it was really just let it flow and let the character end it where it wanted to end it, but I didn't want to be forever writing that book.
That's so fascinating you said that, because I wrote a lot of books, written a lot of books, right? Coach people. I wish I could clone you and have you as my ideal client, because you come in ready to go and just to sit down and write it out, number one. Because then people don't know, and you'll hear me talk, I'll show how hard that is. 4 months, you wrote a whole novel. I've had people I've worked with for years who haven't turned in pages, right? So my biggest thing too is that I found it very hard. I wrote my first fiction last year, and it was the hardest book. And it was a children's book, but it was the hardest book to complete because it's hard to stop because those characters start speaking. What was the response of when people first read your book and when you held it for the first time? 2 questions. When you held it for the first time, how did you feel, and what was the response from people who read your book?
I was very I don't know, it was like in awe, like, okay, I don't pay, because it was really interesting. I don't pay, because back in the day I have a whole inventory of books. It wasn't no friend of the man. I don't ship all these books to the house. Like, oh, I got all these books. I got my boxes. They came in. I said, bring them on in. It was kind of cool to open a box with all my books. I'm like, okay, I got all these darn books now. But it was cool to open a book with all my books in it. And then it was like really supportive to those, because now it's time for the hustle. I mean, I was not the same person I am today as I was then, because then I was like timid. I'll tell you one story. At the point, I think I was laid off at this. I think I was laid off at that time, and I was driving home from grocery store, and somebody was on the radio, DJ. She was saying it was Tuesday Talent, and she was not normally not on at that time, so she brought her show on, doing her stuff on that set for that time period. So I'm driving like Tuesday Talent, so everybody's rapping or singing and stuff. I'm like, shoot, I said, I got Tuesday Talent in my book. So I'm all rushing to get home to do the Tuesday Talent. This is on V103, the largest urban radio station in Atlanta, right? So I'm rushing home, like, I'm gonna do my book. Now, mind you, I'm still nervous. I got to study these books in the house. I got all these books. So I get on here, so I called us and it rung, and to my bewilderment, they answered the first time, which is very rare to call a radio station and get in the first time. Right. So I was nervous. My heart started racing. I was like, yeah, I'm calling for the Tuesday Talent. And the girl who answered the phone, she said, oh, we're done with that segment. I said, you done with that segment? I said, no, that don't make no sense. Because I said, okay. So I hung up the phone. I said, but it says Tuesday Talent. It's Tuesday the whole time on this segment. Now, I don't know who Jada Bird was, but she said Tuesday Talent. I said, no, that ain't it. So I called back, got a busy tone. I'm like, okay, one more time. I called back the second time, and the actual DJ answered the phone. I said, I'm calling for Tuesday Talent. She said, what's your talent? I said, I got a novel. Okay, what you gonna do? Read from your novel? I said, yeah. So now at this point, she said, oh, well, hold on, please. I was nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in here. So I said, what am I gonna read? I said, I couldn't stand reading in high school. I just couldn't stand reading aloud. So I said, okay. But I already had my chapter. I had been practicing the chapter that I was gonna read when I got to the point of reading. So I read my chapter and everything. I was all excited. I got on there and everything. So I hooked it up to where I had all my family and friends to email Jada Bird. I said, email Jada Bird, tell her you love who that was on this thing, right? So she was excited about it, right? So I hooked this up. So somehow she ended up contacting me, said everybody had emailed me and said they loved you. All these people. I said, oh, thank you. So then she said, come on my show. Her show was like at 6 in the morning or 5 or 6 in the morning. Oh my God. So I woke up early in the morning to read the same thing again, and I get excited. And so then she said, and I had those who didn't do it the first time. Did you do the first? No, send her email, tell her you love this person, this radio person. She said she had me do it again. So I finally made it into the actual studio, but I had all my family and friends. I made it to inside the studio, hustling it, and made it. And I'm sitting in this chair, like I'm sitting where my favorite celebrities have sat here in V103. I thought it was so cool. So it was just doing something different and learning how to go through the process and pushing it as much as you can, pushing the envelope, hustling.
Wow. I hope they picked up what you just said. You basically, what you did was you took action. You took a creative route to the end route and made it fit to what you wanted to do. And then you went a step further and you said, hey, you reached out family and friends, hey, email her and let her know you enjoyed it. And that led to you being invited to the studio to actually read your book. Very creative, very powerful. I want to shift because I want to talk about what you're doing now. But before we do that, what was the name of your book? Because I don't think we shared that. And is it still available?
Yeah, It's Won't Be Denied. You can find it at won'tbedenied.com. That's WONTBEDENIED.com. You can find it there.
Okay. So yeah, let's shift. So now you're into streaming TV. Is that correct?
Yep, streaming TV, that is.
All right. So talk a little bit about like what you do, what are your goals with that, and how authors can implement what you do and what them having a book. So how can they use what you do with their book and take what they're doing to the next level?
Yeah, so similar to like when back in the day when I had started mine, of course, like it's nothing changed from then to now. Being in front of people, letting people know that you have this work. But then you was really pushing it, got on radio, did TV, it may be a bit access TV, but you still want to get yourself in front of people. So I learned in 2013 about this whole game about streaming TV. One, I heard it from somebody, and then who came back 6 months later, yo, sis, you heard about this Roku? You can get on it, from Kelly Cole. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I know for myself as an author, I was really constantly trying to get myself in front of people. So what we do is at iDefineTV.com, we're purpose to help entrepreneurs go from YouTube to TV, utilizing one of the most powerful platforms to help you dominate with Roku. Roku has like over 50 million active users who stream over 58 billion hours of content. So you can be on YouTube, you can be everywhere else, but you also be here where people are streaming. So if you have a book trailer or something else, there are people who want to know what you're doing. They're not always going to be online. As you know for yourself, I know for myself, we have these big screen TVs, these flat screen TVs, 4K, 3D, whatever. They're not going anywhere. It's just how the content has been delivered, and it's been delivered through these platforms like Roku.
Dope. So how can they apply? Like, so what do you do at iDefine TV exactly? And how can they use your service, your platform?
So what we do exactly is that. So for example, you're an author who may be an expert in, say, for health and wellness. First and foremost, as an author in doing health and wellness, I would suggest doing some videos. You should be doing videos discussing what problems that most people have that relates to your book, or perpetuate the problems they don't fix it, and solution is, of course, you as the expert. So creating content, and what they want to do at that same time, say, I want to go bigger. I want to reach people who have a general revenue income of like 75,000 more, which most people do with this device. You can reach out to see, okay, see if I want to be on iDefine TV. We don't do commercials per se. We want to position you as the expert and authority because we are advertised to every day. So we're looking for content that's 10, 15 minutes, at least at the minimum. You can sign up for any of our memberships, starting from the basic to going up to premium, whatever. And we can just ask you to put you on and get you broadcasting and getting you exposure and helping you along the way. If you don't know how to do it, definitely walk you through it, how to leverage it for TV. And to help you get to the position, we also do social media on it, email it to our email list. We're also growing our own list of Roku users who are active, they're rabbits. So we can also target them to drive awareness to what you're doing. So mainly creating content and being consistent with it. And it's not a one-hit wonder killer. I tell people, I'm gonna create one video and it's gonna be it. No, you gotta create continuous content, position yourself so people can come to know, like, and trust you. And even if it's fiction, you can find some great content. Like my book is a suspense novel. It's a psychological thriller, but I can discuss some crazy stuff related to the book and what's going on today. So you gotta find how to pivot current affairs and how to pivot with your book to make it relevant to where you can actually promote it and market and have a conversation piece with it.
You dropping knowledge, bro. Go ahead. What you got?
Yeah, I think I'm just shaking my head because this is so good, so much good content for especially people who, I like the part where you can leverage it. A lot of times I'm dealing with clients, for example, CF, who are saying, I don't have a big time budget. But I want to be out there, and I want to have TV appearances. I want to be able to get, the buzz going. This is a way. And I had some experience with that probably like last year. There was a show that I was working with. They were doing on Roku, and I think it was Amazon Fire or Prime or something like that. But I found out that you can buy simple stuff from Amazon. You can do simple stuff in tripods, all this stuff, and it can make it work. Yeah. And so speaking to that, to those listeners out there who are saying, hey, I don't have a great budget, how is this affordable? How can people really tap into this and still get that presence?
It's really simple. I just did a lunch and learn the other week, and it's pretty much producing for Roku is easy as 1, 2, and 3. And most people get overwhelmed that they gotta do all this big thing. Most of them already have we have a production company in our hand, our smartphones. All of them are HD quality. You just gotta know how to do it right. So first and foremost, I want to shoot people over, jump over to, make sure you jump to iDefineTV.com and you can get a free download over there. And it'll show you some great tips. But mostly just know how to use a phone for the video aspect of it. Learn the video element of it and just start getting comfortable with that. And you say, you know, producing from that retrospect, you're easy to start moving into the next direction. And you can get started as little as $200 a month. And he's giving you that global reach because you're an author, you have a book, so that book is sold across the world. So it doesn't matter, you're not pigeonholing yourself in just to your neighborhood or your region, but you can go globally. I mean, I was surprised when I had my book sold. Somebody in UK, like, somebody in UK bought my book. Her name was Tina. Her name was Tina Adu. AIDWO. When I had my first international book seller, and she gave me a testimony. You don't forget stuff like that. And that's pre-Facebook. And I'm looking like, you love that. You keep that person in your mind that you had somebody internationally who don't purchase your work. So now you don't get stuck because you can do it not only online, but utilizing TV. And the reason I did it because you don't have to be super rich and wealthy to do it anymore. You can do it from the comfort of your home, but just got to get comfortable with it and deliver the message that, you know, people like and like.
I just want to piggyback on what you said. You never forget the first sale you make, especially online. The first sale I made online was a guy in Hawaii. I can't pronounce his name, but I'll never forget when that email came through and he actually brought my product. And for me, that just proved that, you know, this thing worked, that you can actually make money on the internet. So, but yeah, that's good stuff. All right. So I know you're always rolling out some things. So what are you rolling out right now? Like, what are you working on right now with iDefine TV? Anything new, any new packages, promotions that people need to know about?
Mainly right now, we're on a mission right now of having 5,000 entrepreneurs redefine television globally. That's our mission because most entrepreneurs, most people have such a device at home and they're still thinking it's a toy. And my mission, let you know, it's a tool, not a toy. You're consuming content, but you're not thinking that you can be consumed by those just like you who are looking for your expertise. So what we're doing right now is focusing on that initiative. If you want to be part of that, you can just jump over to 5K, the number 5, the letter K.iDefineTV.com. And just look at it, use some information, learn, but it's a really great way of, if you have a question, it's here to guide you along the way. But that's our initiative, is to helping 5,000 entrepreneurs redefine TV because it's more easier than ever to reach television viewers and you don't have to pay a whole lot. Like I say, it starts as little as $200. And right now we have utilize another tool we have to as a production company. We have webcams. So you have 3 easy ways to do production: your smartphone, a webcam, and if you have you can go to Best Buy or Amazon and get a $200 HD quality video camera. And you right there, you ain't got to be in a big studio, and just learn some stuff and feel comfortable in front of the camera. So it's that easy. And I take it and put it on what? Roku.
So go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I'm just like shaking my head again. Did y'all hear that? You know, $200, you know, go get your, you know, I was just thinking about this thing, you know, and I was telling you, bro, offline, how just TikTok, you could just be sitting there to a TikTok and you can just consume, your whole day could just be gone. Like you were saying, consume with content. And I thought about what you just said. No, I don't want to graze over that because you dope, you super dope, C.F, and you just be dropping jewels with a calm voice. But I want to just bring this out, right? You just said, instead of consuming content, what if you position yourself on the other side to where people are watching your videos and your video goes viral from the same phone that you're looking at TikTok, and you turn that phone to the other side, right? Or video out, you can actually produce content. So that's super dope. I just wanted to say I'm taking those gems in.
You have smoke coming from your head. I see it.
You see it.
Yeah. So your primary device is Roku. For the people who don't know what Roku is, I do want to break that down for them. What is the Roku device?
Really, Roku is a small little light little device. Either you have a small Roku device or you have the Roku TV. It's another way of streaming content to like cable almost, but you just buy it one time and you have all these different channels from the name well-known Netflix. You have your Hulu, your NBA, TED Talks, HBO, whatever, and then you have the, you know, the independents like the iDefine TV and those we're supporting. So it's really just a smart plug-in. You pay as little as like $30 or something for it, as well up to $100 some odd for it. It depends on where you are in the whole process. But it's a really smart device where people are now cutting the cord. You can watch TV how you want, when you want it, and it's all a la carte. So it's smooth. People are loving it. And they're projecting that like 46 million people, more people supposed to be having it in their homes, but just try it out, just check it out. But it's a real cool device.
Yeah, you introduced me to it. So I got one device, and then I have 2 Roku flat screen TVs. Until you like introduced me to it, I didn't know what it was. And you remember when I bought it and I called you, I was like, yo, this is fire. I actually enjoy this. And too much so I don't have cable anymore. That's my device. Roku is my device. I stream, television when I watch television.
Yeah.
So I hope y'all catching this. You want to take you from YouTube to television, more viewers, and don't overthink this. We'll record this podcast via Zoom. I have a few episodes on iDefine TV called The Author's Corner, where I'll just come on now, interview authors, and we did it, and CF did it via Zoom. So don't overthink this. You can do it. Yeah. All I got to do, I got an HD, Logitech camera that my bro gave me. You can make this happen. That's all you got.
That's it. You said it. You made it so simple. You said it, and some people get caught. Let me say one thing before you go. It's a funny thing. Don't get caught, because there are people who are, I've spoken to multimillionaires who are award-winning actresses who think they have to do something magnifying to have ownership of their own platform. They're still waiting on somebody else to pay them their money where they can have their own platform on Roku, because they're so used to having the lights and cameras and this big budget. But you don't have to have a budget. Start where you are. If you feel uncomfortable, at least start on the Facebook or YouTube and expand yourself, but set the mindset to get started with what you have, because you don't have to pay a whole lot, right? Like to say, we're right here on this beautiful platform called Zoom, and we can get started like today.
Start today. Well,
and Kelly will help you too, because he can interview you for the Author's Corner.
Okay, I can do it. All right, bro. You got your final remarks. We're gonna go around, give our final remarks. I'm gonna give it to bro, then to you, sis, and then I'm gonna close this out. What you got, bro?
Amazing. I just appreciate your hustle. I appreciate your craftsmanship. You've been in the game ever since I met you through Kelly years ago. You've been doing this TV. And I think that's so powerful. So many people jump on and off the bus, but you anybody that's watching, listening, you are seasoned and you have a lot of information, and yet you've been doing it for a long period of time. So I just admire that. And I admire people who stay true to themselves and true to their craft. So definitely, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, sis, anything you want to leave the people with?
Pretty much just get started. If you heard this and something made you shake or make you nod your head, follow through with it. Just do something tomorrow differently that you did today. But most important, start doing some video. And if you have a question, just reach out. You can find us at 5k.iDefineTV.com. Set up an opportunity to have a little Q&A question search conversation, and it doesn't cost you anything. Just ask questions to learn.
Dope. Thank you so much for being a guest on Books-N-Brothas podcast. Most people don't know this. This is my big sis. She keeps me in line and has kept me in line all these years. And I want to give you your flowers while you're living. I thank God for having you in my life and everything you have poured into me, and keeping me straight.
Please keep me straight. Please keep me straight.
And being a sounding board and being a person that I can depend on. So I know if I need you, I know that you're there, and I wanted to tell you I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. And if Ty, you want me to be your little sis, your big little sis, it's gonna cost you a little bit more, because I'm trying to see if
I get that discount,
But yeah,
it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Okay, real quick, where can the people follow you at on social media? We already gave them the iDefine stuff. Give it to them one more time, and where they can follow you on social media.
Sure. So if you want to check out and get some more information, just go to 5k.iDefineTV.com. You can find me on most platforms at C.F. You got to put C.F. Jackson, and iDefine TV. You can find it on any platform, pretty much. Try to think Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook under iDefine TV.
Good stuff. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in this week. Make sure you're following us and liking us on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening or wherever you're watching this. Make sure you share this episode. You don't know who needs this information. Like CF told you, I came across some information. I shared it with her in 2013. She's been doing streaming TV ever since. And that's how we roll. Y'all meeting two key pieces of my team, my brother and my sister, and we just send stuff to each other. I sent her something the other day. So share this. You never know who this information, who it's for. It may be somebody that's praying about they want to be on TV. This is their opportunity to have their own channel, to have their own show. This could be the answer to somebody's prayer. So share this episode with somebody and make sure they subscribe. If you want to book us, we are available for booking. Shout out to everybody who came to the Book It Masterclass. We don't want to roll over that. We had an amazing time this past weekend. Shout out to everybody that showed up. For those of you who are asking, the next one, it is May 1st. If you want to go ahead and register for the early bird for that, go to bookitmasterclass.com right now. You can go ahead and get registered for that, but it is May 1st. It's going down. Anything before we give them the quote, bro?
No, man, that book, it was amazing, man. It was amazing. And we did it right from the comfort, virtually for the first time. And it was amazing going back to your whole thing about TV. We did it right here on the platform on the other side, so it can be done.
Dope.
Let's go.
Yep. All right. With that being said, you don't have to get it right.
Just got to get it going.
All right. See you guys next week. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you again.
I am happy, healthy, wealthy, whole. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, whole. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, whole. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, whole.
Happy, healthy, wealthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, wealthy, and whole.
I am happy, healthy, wealthy, whole. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, whole. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, whole. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, whole.